Zero from 17 once again. This is my Ghost Recon Future Soldier Elite Difficulty video walkthrough. So this is going to be long overdue, because it's long overdue as I say this, and this is not uploaded or rendered yet because I'm still having render problems. But luckily enough, this is actually one of the more challenging missions. There's 2 sections to it where you might actually need this guide rather than just listening to it as a technicality or watching it because you like to show my channel support and you enjoy what I do, which all are fine, all are awesome and welcome. It's just interesting, the the dichotomy of how guides work on YouTube. Walkthroughs in general are an interesting thing because everybody seems to have a different opinion towards them. Everybody seems to use them differently. Everybody just seems to see it as a different thing. It's extremely subjective, and maybe in my ignorance I never thought it was, but I'm learning that it definitely is. And a major area of this comes down to the classifications of what a guide actually is. And everyone's opinion seems to differ on this as well. And YouTube's definitely taught me that, because I was under the assumption that if you made, the highest quality guide with some of the best gameplay or the best strategies or the best, offensives against the game itself would make for the best videos, but it just isn't the case at all. It's much more than that. It transcends the actual, skill of the game. Because there are guides on YouTube, there are guides all over the place that have people struggling their way through games, and it's almost as if people would prefer that, which is kind of crazy, because to me a playthrough and a walkthrough are 2 very separate entities. And I know I go over this topic quite a lot, but it stems from the fact that I'm a walkthrough maker. That's what I do. That's what I wanted to do when I came to YouTube. It was a thing I'd been trying to start doing for some years, but I didn't have any knowledge of how I could do it. And now that I am doing it, I'm realizing that maybe it's not really needed. And this is not me, saying that I'm going to be quitting or anything, or this is not me being especially down on myself or anything. It's not the case. It's just more of an observation of my mind at this moment in time and what I feel towards this medium, because I do think there is a skill to making the guides, and I do believe that I myself am skilled at it, regardless of other people's opinions, be they, share my own or be they differ. It doesn't really matter. On paper, I believe that it's something I excel at, and this game is a good example. This is not a hard game by any standards, but there will be people that will struggle with it. There will also be people who will need a walkthrough for it, and a lot of people might find that strange because they didn't find it that challenging, but there's always somebody out there who has a different experience to yourself. And one of the first things you'll realise if you ever start making something for an audience, a lot of, companies and people that are in areas where they have to analyse their prospective market, to who they're selling their product to or to who they're creating something for, they'll throw around the terminology of demographics quite a lot. And people just think it's, they think it's business talk, they think it's, just marketing slogans, it's just power words, it's just the type of thing that you'd see on a spreadsheet or on a presentation projected on a wall in front of, a positive thinking seminar or something along those lines. And it's not, it's really important. And finding your audience is one of the most difficult things to do on YouTube, I have found, because if you want to find a big audience, you have to provide a varying, degree of quality and of something that people will enjoy. And you can't just aim at one type of particular person, because it's extremely difficult to build a channel on one solitary thing. Or that's what I believe. This section here can be quite difficult, so do bear with it, because as you just saw then, they can destroy the cover that I'm using here. If you struggle at all with counter-sniping these guys, a good idea is to move back into the room and use I think it's the central pillar that's made out of concrete, because that way they can't shoot you through it and you can pick them off from a comfortable distance. But this is not too bad. It's just one of those things where on Elite, if you do get hit, you can get killed. It's, you know, it's binary. It's noughts and ones. But the only way to really create an audience that wants one single thing is if you do something that's, you know, widely accepted right now, or if you do something that's hot on YouTube. A lot of people take this to mean Call of Duty and things like that, because regardless of age, regardless of intellect, regardless of, you know, taste, there are a lot of people that really enjoy Call of Duty on YouTube. But a better example would probably be Minecraft. And I'm going to say one thing here, people. You will never see Minecraft on my channel. That's just cold, solid fact. The reason is, Minecraft itself, to me personally, is a tool to spend time. It is literally an interface to lose hours of your life with. It is the equivalent of a sandbox when you're a kid. That's what it is. I'm not trying to diminish or diminutize, you know, the effort that went into making the game or the enjoyment that a lot of people have from it. But the concept of me watching somebody in what is essentially a more elaborated version of something like Forge from Halo is ridiculous. And I won't do it because I think it's very bizarre. Because sitting watching somebody play with something that essentially is a bunch of dev tools is not my idea of an enjoyable time. And a lot of the people who are really popular with this Minecraft stuff have generally got an interesting personality which makes the videos worth watching, or they have so many subscribers they could probably put up a video of them rolling a piece of dog shit in flour and turning it into a white piece of dog shit, and they'd still get 300 bazillion views. And it's just the economy of how it works. If you have followers, they will follow you. If you don't have them, you have to try and, you know, spread yourself to accrue them, and it can be really difficult to know what the best direction for yourself is, especially when there is a lot of channels out there that are specifically looking towards other channels to incorporate their ideas, to expand their own, you know, their own wealth, essentially. And it's kind of interesting because it makes you think, do you change what you do to try and widen your audience, or do you just perfect what you do to get the most concise and, you know, collective of people together that appreciate your individual talents? And it's a difficult choice to make. And I'm sitting here now, effectively, you could say like 18 months, maybe 19 months into my YouTube channel, which is a pretty long time for most YouTube channels, considering that a lot of the people that buy HD PVRs and a mic and get all into commentating a game because they thought it looked cool, they'll make a couple videos and then within maybe 3 months they'll stop doing it because they were never the type of person that had, you know, the willpower or the drive to make it something special. They were just the people that saw something cool and wanted to copy it and eventually gave it up, because that's what a lot of people do. So 17 or 19 or however long it's been, I'm coming up on, I think it's in December, it will effectively be 2 years. I've learnt a hell of a lot. I've gone through more than a lot of other channels. That's not to say that anything more important than other channels, just I've gone through a lot of things. I've transitioned quite a lot. I've evolved, I like to think, because I've gone from literally having a really bad mic, which I thought was great at the time, and I thought I was setting standards of quality. I've gone from not really being all that confident in my ability to speak on the commentaries, even though at the time I thought I was great. And I've gone from making, you know, guides that weren't exactly challenging myself to making guides that I'm trying to put as many exotic spins on them or as much professionalism as possible, because I started this channel with one goal in mind, and that was to get filthy rich. No, my one goal was to literally make the best content I could physically make. I wanted to make a guide that was so good and so well put together that you literally couldn't, you know, point out a flaw in it. And a lot of people will probably think I've not managed to achieve that. There'll be people that enjoy my stuff and say that I have managed to hit that on every single video that I make. And it's the constant strive for perfection. And one thing that is really hard on YouTube is raising your numbers for things, because right now I'm sitting on 2,700 subscribers, which is an amazing amount of people. Don't get me wrong, I am not deluded enough to think that that is 2,700 individual people all baying for more content from me, because if it was, every video would hit those numbers, and I don't hit those numbers. And it's one of those things where you're looking to the possibilities of how you can increase what you have, because everybody that makes content for YouTube wants their content to be watched. It's not an ego trip, it's not something to do out of spite. It's literally, we make the things we make because we want them to be enjoyed. We want people to watch them and think, that's pretty great. That somebody's took time to make that, and I'm glad I watched it. As opposed to people that leave hate and say things, you know, along the lines of wish I'd never watched it, or you should stop doing what you're doing, that all that kind of great stuff. But, you know, Jason Lee said it best in Vanilla Sky when he was on about how if you haven't tasted the sour, the sweet isn't as sweet. So you do need a healthy balance of both, because it humbles you. It doesn't humble everybody, some people could do with a healthy dose of humility, but it's useful because it helps you keep yourself in check, and it helps you continue to strive to make things better. And I'm out of time here, guys, and this video is, this entire level is probably going to be me talking on this individual rant, because I've got a lot to say, and if you don't enjoy that, I apologise, mute it, watch the gameplay. If you do, then you're in for quite the introverted ride. So thanks for watching, guys, and you take care now.